Jenna, and today I'm going to be telling you all about the books that I want to finish by the end of 2020. I buy a lot of books and I really like to read the books that I buy in 1 year in that particular year. So all the books that I bought in 2020 I would really like to finish in 2020, because then I sort of start the next year off on a clean slate and I haven't added too much to my TBR. There are 10 books on this list that I have bought this year that I haven't gotten to. I'm a little nervous about that. I have not been reading much at all, and 10 books is huge, especially because so many of these books are huge books, so I don't know if I'm going to get through them all. There's also one book that is not yet released that I also want to read, so I'm nervous, let's put it that way. So the very first book that I have on this list is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is one of those books that's massive. I think it's over 700 pages long. This book is 799 pages long. I don't know how that's going to go. I do really want to read this one. I know this is Sarah's first foray into adult fiction, I believe, and it definitely seems like fun, but I'm really nervous. I can barely get through like a 300-page book in 2 weeks. How am I meant to get through a book that's 799 pages long and read everything else? So I should tell you what this is about. I don't entirely know. I believe it's about a girl named Bryce. She lives in a place called Crescent City. She used to party in lots of clubs, and then a demon murders her closest friends, and 2 years later, when they think the killer is behind bars, stuff starts happening again, and they ask Bryce to help investigate. That's kind of cool. Ooh. Apparently, they assign an enslaved fallen angel, Hunt Alathar, to make sure that she does investigate. But as Bryce fights to uncover the truth and resist her attraction to the brooding angel who shadows her every step, she finds herself following a trail that leads deep into her own dark past. It does sound interesting. I just don't know if I'm ready for a 799-page book. Next up, we have The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. This is the third book in the Truly Devious series, and I haven't read the second book, so I doubt I'll be getting to this one unless I also read, I need to reread Truly Devious. Unless I also reread Truly Devious and then read The Vanishing Stair, I just don't see me getting to this one by the end of the year, but I really, really want to. So then technically that makes it 12 books to read by the end of the year instead of just 10, which is an insane amount that I don't think is going to happen. Do you see how confident I am in myself in this video? I'm gonna make a list of the 10 books I want to read by the end of the year, but I don't think I'll read them. No, you know what? Let's say that I'm going to get through all 12 books. It's gonna be a great time and we're gonna love it. So I won't tell you what this book is about because it's the third book in a series, and also I don't know. So Truly Devious follows a girl named Stevie. She attends a boarding school where so many years before there was this unsolved crime that she is now trying to solve, and while she's trying to solve it, stuff starts happening again. Very brief overview, but that is basically the story, and this one is the third, so obviously this follows on from whatever happened in the first two. Also, I just love hardcovers and I hate that they're so expensive in Australia. Next up, we have The F-Team by Rawah Arja. This is a Aussie book that is set in Sydney and follows a boy who, to save his school, I think he joins the football team. The book is inspired by the Cronulla riots, which I know absolutely nothing about, so I should probably do a little bit of research, but it sounds like a really nice coming of age story. I don't know how I feel about the cover though. I feel like they could have given her a much better cover, because this does not excite me to read this book. Next up, we have Spellhacker by M.K. England. This is from the author of The Disasters, but it is a new standalone story. So this book is set in a world where magic used to be in really high supply, and then something happened and now it is not, and so the main characters run a very illegal siphoning gig where they siphon off magic to give to people or sell to people. They probably do it to sell to people, let's be real. But of course they are supposed to be stopping that because it's highly illegal, but on their last job ever they do some stuff that causes a very deep, dark, strong strain of magic, and now they have to figure out the reason why there was a spell plague and probably save the world, which is always going to be a fun time. Next up, we have Taking Down Evelyn, Tate by Poppy Nwosu. This is a companion novel to Making Friends with Alice Dyson. It's set in the same world, but I think maybe there'll be like a couple of character cameos, but I don't think it's got anything to do with each other. This book follows a girl named Lottie whose best friend starts dating Evelyn Tate, which is someone that she absolutely hates, so she sort of figures out a way to take her down. Next up is All the Stars and Teeth by Adalyn Grace. This one was a total impulse buy, so I don't entirely know what it's about, but I do believe it has something to do with the ocean, which I hate the ocean, but I love reading about the ocean, which is a great time. And it's a pirate book, and I think it's got a lot of mythology, so sirens, mermaids, that sort of thing, which should always be a fun time. Next up, we have Rebel Gods by Kostakis. This is the sequel and finale to Monuments. So this one follows these three kids who discover these gods living in Sydney, and then they sort of have to follow on from the consequences of the first book, and the first book had heaps of consequences, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in this one. But also, it's such a short novel compared to Monuments, and I still don't know how I feel about that. Next up we have Grown by Tiffany T. Jackson. This one is, well, this one was a YA Circle Book Club Book of the Month, so I didn't read it in time for book club, so I also didn't go to that book club for various reasons. And this one I think has the potential to be either really good or really bad for me. So it follows a girl called Enchanted, which I have feelings about. She sort of catches the eye of a famous R&B artist who is going to make all of her dreams come true until the next morning she wakes up. He is dead, there's blood on her hands, and all signs point to her. So it's a very interesting story then, I guess, about whether she really did do it, why everyone thinks it's her, and a lot of different things. I think it's going to be a really dark book, but it's one that I think is going to be an important read that is probably going to be really enjoyable. And hopefully a fast read, because fast reads are where it's at. Next up we have a 756 page chonker in Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I really do want to read this book this year. I love, well, loving Twilight is a strong word, but I really did enjoy my Twilight phase, and I think this one's going to be a lot of fun to read. I just think it's going to be a very long book to read. So this one is Twilight, but from Edward's point of view, and apparently Edward had a lot of things to say, which I suppose makes sense because he can read people's minds. But also, is this book just 756 pages of him reading other people's minds and not being able to read Bella's mind? Because that would get tedious. And last on the list we have The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. This was another YA Circle book that I just never got to, and this one follows a kid who has these superheroes that he meets, and I think one's good, one's bad, and he attempts to become a superhero? Not sure. Everyone in book club really loved this, and it's a superhero story, so it should be a fun time. But once again, I'm hoping it's a short read because there's so many books on this TBR, guys. And then I do actually have one more book, and that is Stormbreak by Natalie C. Parker. Stormbreak is the third and final book in the Seafire trilogy. I have not been reading books like as they come out in trilogies or series for a really long time, and this is one that I have been, so I'm really excited to see this. This is the final book, so we find out what happens to Caledonia and all of her crew, whether or not they do defeat the bad guy of the seas or not, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one all wraps up. And there you go, that is my very ambitious end of the year TBR. I'm terrified. I would really like to finish this year off in a bang, but I have not been reading much at all. I don't know how to change that. It's been a struggle. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you have read any of these books, what you thought, and which ones I should prioritize, because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.